point. Amazing. I think we can get started. Let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Good.
Yep.
Amazing. Amazing. So I think like for today's focus is going to be around n8n, so which is one of those tools out there that helps you build um, the backend side of things, like when it comes to agents or any kind of say infrastructure that's needed. So like we also go into like little more into Cursor as well today when you're building tools. So that's another tool that helps you build software really fast. I think we touched upon this last week, but I want to like show how I use Cursor as well, so that we can sort of like learn together. So I think like the base the the base is around n8n, but I'll sort of go into other aspects, the rack systems, and also around Cursor, and like how you can sort of leverage all these tools together to build a very simple AI-based tool, which is ready for deployment. So that's the main focus. So I think like n8n is very similar to, I would say, um, Zapier, make.com, which is very similar automation tools out there that you can connect different kinds of sort of tools, and then you can get some sort of a repeatable process automated out. Whether it's like trigger, like if you get an email, you can do something. But from like a normal automation, it has moved on to a lot more sophisticated scenarios, like especially with LLMs integrated, you can build much more sophisticated systems. So I've known like folks who use n8n to build businesses on top of that, raise multi-million dollar rounds, and move on to maybe like when they get more users, like when it hits like tens of thousands of users, you may move on from n8n, but like still um, to to go from like an idea to a working product with actually production ready, n8n is like a really good tool. So we're gonna like explore that a bit more today. So before we get started, would love to sort of know what you guys built last week. So feel free to use the chat and share what you guys built. How was the experience with using Labo? And if you guys used any other tools. So would love to sort of have that conversation going as well. If there's anything interesting, or any questions from last week, happy to pick them up as we go. So yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to cover today. So I'm going to try and sort of go into the session, and so we'll get more questions as we go, because n8n can be sort of used in so many other ways, not just to build AI sort of agents, but also other types of automation systems. Yeah, Dan, go ahead. Yeah, go for it, Dan. Yeah, yeah,
Over here?
yeah.
Yep. Okay, great.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, Dan. I mean, love the UI. I think like, but beautiful as well. Not just the functionality of it. It's amazing. Would love to see the next sort of iteration of this. Amazing stuff. Yeah, thanks a lot for sharing, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll try and see like if we can add more stuff onto this. Amazing. So yeah, in consideration of time, so would love to see others sort of share in the chat as well. But yeah, let's dive into AI agents as the next step, and we can see how we can sort of integrate some of these into the tools that you guys have built. Um, Amazing. So I think like we'll dive deep into n8n. Like,
By the
was it Christy, by the way? I think was you that built it,
Yeah,
right?
that was me.
Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah,
much, Dan. I appreciate that.
yeah. Amazing design as well. Like on that. Like, yeah, cool stuff, Christy. Yeah. So um yeah, I think like so I think like so the focus of like today's session is like try and build very easily, looking not worrying too much about the infrastructure side of things to build an AI agent. So and then how you can use n8n and sort of exposure to n8n, like why and when to use n8n, and then a bit more about the different types of integrations that we can have in n8n, and like how we can sort of connect them, even things like Flow, other types of external integration that we can do. I'll show some of them towards the end of the session. Um, so I think like it's important to understand n8n. So if you guys have done automation of some sort in the past, Zapier was like a really popular tool, and then tools like make.com came into play, and now n8n is probably leading the market, I would say. I mean, maybe top three players because they are heavy on like AI integration. So they are done the AI integration piece really well, like creating AI agents, connecting to vector databases, and sort of connecting these like AI-based tool creation in a much smoother way. I would sort of consider n8n as a sort of a hybrid between Zapier and LangChain, and also a lot more local control. What that means is n8n provides you with open source version so that you can run it on your own sort of the local server. You can run it on your sort of a cloud server in a secure way, because this is quite important. Like when it comes to very privacy sensitive domains, whether it's financial sector, whether it's healthcare sector, whenever there's like privacy involved, it is n8n is like a really good um, like a tool so that you can sort of create these agentic workflows um, in a secure environment as well, not just the agentic behavior, but also in a secure way. So it gives you the opportunity to self-host, or you can, if needed, use their own cloud service, so you don't have to worry about the sort of the deployment and the scaling side of things. You have both options, but n8n, on a simple term, it's a tool, low code, and I'll probably say no code integration tool that helps you connect different types of components and create automations. So that's the high level sort of the introduction to n8n. So I think it's important to understand why to use, like why n8n compared to other tools. I like one of the main reasons I would say is like the ability to run like local sort of instances, where others would rarely give this opportunity, because they always push you to use their own cloud infrastructure, and you can be tied to their sort of cloud infrastructure with all sort of privacy concerns. So the n8n had like a really high adoption in the enterprise because of this reason, and also it's very well done sort of tool as well. And then anybody can generally use it. On a sort of high level, these are like JavaScript based nodes. So it's like from a UI point of view, these are like you can sort of do drag and drop and connect these different modules and sort of create like a logic based on your business use case. And um, n8n, I think they prioritize building all these kind of AI integrations, whether it's OpenAI having the agentic nodes, memory modules, compared to other players in the market. So because of that, with the AI sort of the wave in the last few years, they took a lot of market share because of that. And then you have like huge amounts of other users creating their custom sort of workflows and share it in their ecosystem. So you have like quite a few example workflows that you can easily copy paste. You don't have to like, so I'll show that in a bit. So if you see an n8n workflow that you like, you can easily copy that and have it on your local sort of environment, so you can run it as long as you connect the right kind of keys that is needed for different modules. You can easily run that workflow and have something ready up and running from somebody else's sort of n8n workflow. Obviously cost efficient. So depending on the setup, if it's a local run or a cloud run, generally it's not based on per run. It's based on like it's a fixed cost. Obviously there are different tiers, but within that tier, it's not based per run. So you will have to pay for different types of API keys. Like for example, if you're using like OpenAI module, you have to pay for that separately. But beyond that, it's relatively cost efficient. And it's really good for like prototyping. So it's like LangChain style flows, and you can visually create these sort of workflows to create your logic relatively in an easier way. Um, I think what you're trying to build today is like an AI agent. So this is a very loosely used term. So I think it's important to define what you're trying to build here. So what you're trying to build here is like a tool that has connection to LLM, large language model, and with some of other tools like that mimics behavior of an agent. So what that means is like if you ask the tool to do something, it can sort of relatively reason a bit and then get something done. So that we're going to use agent sort of reasoning capability in this case to pick and choose the right approach, and based on that, it can sort of get that task done. And I mean, like a very complex agent would take a bit of time to build. So we're gonna like keep this agent relatively small to show different types of aspects of this model. But the general idea is that you can build an agent using agent n8n, and then we can see how we can sort of extend this to build very complex systems. And yeah, so in summary, like sorry, Dan, got a question. Yeah, I'll pick this up. Yeah, I'll pick it up. Amazing. Um, so I think like what you're trying to build here is like create an AI based solution where it can sort of reason a bit and to try and reach its goal. So the definition of an agent can vary depending on the level of accuracy that we try to define. So AI agent is some any type of a LLM-based connected tool that can sort of go and do some task that we ask it to do, and it could have this multiple set of tools that is attached to that, so that it can get that work done. So it will reason and figure out like what sort of tool to use, and based on that, it will go and finish that work. So that's a simple, like I would say, like loosely defined definition for AI agent, and that's enough for us to build this tool today. Let me see. So I think this is the sort of the architecture that you're looking at. Um, so n8n has pre-built sort of infrastructure to build these kind of agents, so you don't have to rethink too much. So this, in a way, restrictive as well, but at the same time, it gives you like a really good starting point for you to start building an agent. So this is the AI agent module that sits within n8n. It has, I think, two, three versions of this, but like this is one of the commonly used ones. So you'll have the AI agent, the logic piece that sort of handles your sort of the conversation that's coming into the logic module, I would say, and then you have different types of components connected to that. So it could be the the LLM piece, so we can connect OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, doesn't matter. Like depending on what type of a LLM that you're using, you can sort of connect that module, and then you can have a memory module. So this is to sort of mimic this. Behavior. Like for example, if you interact with ChatGPT, you'll see that it can sort of remember what you sort of spoke few chats back. So we can sort of have that sort of same kind of behavior having a memory layer. So there are multiple options to sort of have a memory layer. So the power of AI agents is that so if it can remember your interactions or your behavior, it will give you a better customized sort of answer. So you can do that having the memory layer. And this the tool set, which is this part, which is you can sort of connect quite a few tools. So depending on the model that you're using, you can sort of connect different types of tools. This could be a Slack integration, could be SMS module, it could be Airtables, it could be Supabase. So you can connect different kinds of tools to this agent, and depending on the user's question, it will pick and choose what sort of tool to use to get the task done. So that's where the magic of, we'd say, like the AI models come into play. It will reason out and figure out, okay, I'll use this specific module, the node, to get my work done. And also, like, it doesn't have to like sit on its own. Like, it can sort of like connect into another sort of a agent. It could connect to another um, node that sort of moves on from this agent. So it could be this could be a trigger. So you can sort of build very custom complex system with this. So because this it's can be like this looks like a graph-based system, so you can there's infinite ways that you can connect this as long as you have a way to like sort of connect with the external world. So that's the overall sort of the agentic architecture that you need to understand. On principle, you'd have LLM based model, some sort of memory module, and you'll have some set of tools. So then that becomes an agent. Simple as that. And then we can sort of build sort of business case, business use case, and then create an AI agent. So I think like let me see. Yeah. So n8n, as I said earlier, you can have a cloud version, you can have a local version. So I've sort of deployed like a local version right now. Let me see if I can switch it on. Can see the screen, right? Oh, good. So what I'm doing right now is let me see if it this land. I think it should go to the canvas normally. Yeah, it comes here. So what I'm doing right now is I'm running a local n8n server. So that means you can ask Cursor to do this. Like so if I go here, so you can sort of you have if you simply ask Cursor to build an n8n workflow, it will run an n8n instance. It will start running this. So this is nothing complex, but I'll show you at the end like how to do this. But you have two options. You can run something locally, or you can go to n8n sort of the so we go here. So you can sort of sign in and sort of get the cloud version as well, so that you can use it for like 2 weeks for free. I've don't have a free version right now. That's why I'm running it locally. There's how to like create a new account. But it's the same tool. It doesn't sort of deviate from what it offers. What the general sense is that you can go either click here or click here. You can go to this canvas. So this is like what the n8n sort of the dashboard looks like, and gives you the flexibility that is needed to build this workflow. So you can go and sort of add the first step. Generally, you can have something like on chat message. I think if you click that, you have that. So this is like you can sort of have a chat and then can connect this to another module. Like when the chat message comes, it will sort of like go to another sort of module. Now, for example, if I go here, let's say, so this is the agent module that I've told, it's automatically get connected to that. And as long as you add other information, you can sort of create the agent. But I'll come back to that in a bit. But I want to like show like what this canvas looks like. So you have the logs here. Um, so if you're using the chat interface, you can chat here, and you can directly sort of interact with this in the test environment. You don't have to expose that to externally. So if you do executions, you'll see like if you do test runs, you can see the logs here. And yeah, I think evaluations, we don't have to go much detail into that, but like you can also evaluate your sort of workflows from here. I think like we can stick to editor and the execution right now, but so obviously you can clean it off, sort of tidy it up. Can all sort of features here, and then you can publish this so that this can be used either internally, generally because this is in the local host. Unless you expose the endpoint, you'll have to use this locally. But if it's on the cloud environment or in any one of your servers in the cloud, you can expose this and you can sort of have this in front of a website. You can easily connect this endpoint so that you can have this in the backend, and it will run very easily. um, yeah, I think this is like the high level sort of the overview of the canvas, which is where you can sort of edit the n8n workflows. But let's go back to like to understand a bit more sort of concepts around n8n before we get started building the agent. Um, let's see. Yeah. So as I was showing a bit earlier, so n8n has quite a few different types of components. You have sort of the triggers that would start the n8n workflow. And so for could be webhooks, chat message, could be a cron job, things like that. So webhook is an endpoint that you can sort of connect to any kind of application, and it will trigger this workflow, and it will get started. And if it needs to send something back, it will send something back. Chat message, as we looked at earlier, you can sort of have a conversation with, so it will mimic like a chat conversation. Cron job, it is like running on a schedule, and it will sort of run every, let's say if you need to do some specific task middle of the night, you can do that with triggers. And then you have actions, like if you do API calls, database updates, let's say you want to do update like a Postgres database, things like that. You can sort of connect this, create a um, action module, and then you can sort of add that and create that agent, so the workflow. And any kind of AI call, which is like OpenAI modules, any OpenAI call, you can sort of have that. And then the logic nodes, like if you need to have some sort of a logic, let's say if specific type of data comes, like you'll go take the first branch, otherwise you do the second branch. Like you can sort of have a logic based sort of workflow. It's not just like sequentially, it can branch out depending on the type of the it can dynamically change depending on the type of information that's comes in. Then you have the data nodes, which are helps you convert data. Like for example, if you get text in some format, if you need to convert that to a specific structure before you send it into the LLM, so you can sort of have a data node in the middle, and then you can sort of convert that. You can also have codes, like for example, if you need to execute like a Python script or a JavaScript within this workflow, you can do that. So plenty of things that you can do. And also you got credentials you can store here. And also you have execution. These are not components, but you can have this information within n8n to see how different executions run, so that you can see if your expected agent is working as you intended. So that's where you can see the logs, etc. So yeah, I think like rather than talking about theory, I think it's best to build something. So I'm gonna try and build an agent that can sort of from scratch, and it could go wrong. Like so, that's the if they updated their APIs, amazing. Hopefully this works. So the idea is to like build like a very simple agent that can do like a Google search, and we'll see like if we can add a bit more other components as well. So you need to have a chat trigger, OpenAI node, memory node, and so we're going to use Node Core SERP API, which is Google Search API that helps you do Google search, and then the response. You get the response back in the chat endpoint, or you can get if you have a different front end page, you can get it to the front end as well. So we can sort of explore both of them. Let's go to the n8n. Before I get started, are there specific questions? I'm sure there could be. Let me see if there's anything. Got it. Danny, I'll touch upon this question towards the end. But yeah, definitely I'll show like some of the MCP sort of service as well. Quite useful. Um, so I think like
Is it
yeah.
something that
Yeah, I think like it's relatively affordable, I would say. Like for example, if you take something like n8n, like either you can host it locally or you can have it on a cloud service. So if you go to n8n pricing, so you can get like £20 per month, and this is like a rough estimate. Like so it will take like maybe 2.5K work for executions. That's more than sufficient. And then generally it could be like 5 concurrent executions, unlimited users, etc. So it's definitely sufficient, and you'll get like maybe like $5 to $10 per month, sort of the OpenAI cost as well. So like whatever the LLM that you might use, so you get an extra bill. So under £50 for sure, you can build an agent and run it very in a sophisticated manner. So yeah, and you'll be surprised there are quite a few free tools out there as well. So I mean like even if you do an integration to like let's say Google Calendar, like things like that, so you can easily connect them without any cost. And then yeah, I would say like an agent like in a relatively average usage under £50, you can easily build an agent and run it. Like if it is like a business use case, yeah, maybe there will be cost because like you'll be handling like lots of documents, things like that. But yeah, in general, quite affordable, I would say.
got it? Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll probably start from the beginning. So yeah, I think first what you need to have is like a trigger, which is like where this agent would get started. So we want to have an agent that can have a conversation. So that means like we're gonna use chat message. So you can have different kinds of triggers here. Like you can trigger manually on schedule, on webhook call. So this is like, so you've from another service, you call this endpoint from like an application, it will get triggered. When a form submission comes, you can trigger that. So likewise, there are different ways because we're trying to create this chat conversation. I'm going to use a chat message as the sort of the connector. Let's see. Yeah, so make chat publicly available. Yeah, I think let's keep it for now in a private way. And then we need to add an agent. There are quite a few agents we can use. We can probably use this one and see. Um, so yeah, so there's a chat model for that. There's a memory model. There's a set of tools that we can connect. And we connected that, so I'll let it be. And then we gotta make sure that we add the LLM layer. So when you click this, you'll see all types of LLM models that you can sort of pick and choose, right? So the Google ones, so Olama, so Open Router, so like things like this, you can sort of connect any custom model as well. So right now, probably for safe options, we go and use OpenAI. And then you need to make sure that so if you use this for the first time, you might not see this authenticated, so you can click here. So I've added my API key and it has sort of tested it, and it's working fine, and that's the only thing you need to add, and it automatically get sort of set up. And you can pick and choose the type of model that you want to use. You can use GPT 4.1, which is but also you have a lot of model options here. You can even go into like much more sophisticated models like 5.2, which is the latest model, but we don't need that today. Um, and yeah, I think like we'll stick to like default settings at the moment and try and see how this works out. And depending on how it works, we can sort of adjust this to get something done. So right now, I'm not gonna sort of add anything. We're gonna try and see. So as you can see, like visually, you can see how the agent worked. So it sort of started here, it went to the agent, and it went to the OpenAI chat model and came back. And so I asked a question, hello. So I asked, how are you doing? And I got the response, I'm doing great. So this is like with the endpoint. This is like the simplest thing that you can do with this agent, but we're gonna try and add a bit more stuff. So now let's go ahead and ask like just today in London. I don't know if it can answer this. Maybe because of given that, yeah. So I don't have real-time access to current weather data. So yeah, and this isn't a very straightforward thing. It's always raining in London, so you don't have to. You need an LLM for this. But for the sake of this experiment, I want to try and see if we can connect a tool for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a tool called SERP. So this is tool to do Google search. So you can connect this, and I need to connect my credentials. I think, yeah. So I'm gonna get my credentials. Let's see. Give me a sec. Um, yeah. So if you go to SERP API, so which is this one, so you can sort of copy paste the key. This one, and go back at this and then save this, and connection was successfully done. That's great. So that means the SERP API is working. So I'm gonna not add anything else yet. I'll keep it as this. So we have this external tool. I'm gonna try and ask this. This might not work actually. I don't know if it can figure this part out. Okay. Okay, I've seen this error before. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, I need to debug this one. But generally the idea here is that when you sort of call the endpoint, it will sort of go and call the SERP API, which is a Google search simply. And then it will sort of answer your question. So the other thing I want to add here is I'm not going to try and debug this a lot more, but like, yeah, I'll probably ask chat how to fix this. Yeah. I'll wait what chat says. In the meantime, I'm gonna try and connect a memory module, the one I sort of told earlier. Um, so, so if we go here, um, there are quite a few options for memories. Like you can sort of connect Postgres, Redis. I think Redis is like one of those beta options out there, which is battle tested, but you need to configure it a bit more. Simplest thing is like you can add simple memory, so which is inbuilt memory for n8n. So you can add that, and so it's connected to the node that you are the AI agent that we're using. So this one of the important things to look at this is that the context window length. So this is where we sort of define the number of chat conversations that it needs to remember. So that, I mean, we can obviously set it for longer, and generally it says to 5. So you can have like for 10 conversations, it will remember the conversation and that will get stored. Because it's a simple memory, it's like probably like RAM. After you don't use it, it will just get forgotten. So if I ask again a question, let's say, so it triggers both. I mean, like right now it's not picking up this one. So not just so it first check. So you can see this sort of the first check is whether this has been answered before, and if that's the case, it will answer from here. So if I ask again, let me see. Yeah, I think like if there's any information from our previous conversation, it gets checked here. So it will first check here if there's anything that was happened before, and after that answer is given to us from the chat model, it also stores this information. So it's saving the context. If you look at this, so it's saying, okay, input, how are you doing? And I'm doing well. So that information is stored. So that conversation is stored there. So it sort of pulls this information. So as you can see, um, so in the first instance, it's like it's trying to load memory. So we should try and give the query, and based on that, it pulls out this conversation. And so that's going to be quite useful when it comes to very complex conversation that you can, yeah, so you can fix this. Um, let's see the executions. This one. Let's connect to this one, I think. Yes. Yeah, this agent thing didn't work as expected for the Google search, but you can add different kinds of tools, right? So, like for example, there's plenty of tools that's within n8n that we can use. So you can sort of connect a vector store. So vector store is a way that you can store content in a embeddings, like in embeddings. So like in when it takes LLMs, they sort of store information in not just text format, etc. So it needs to get stored in an embedding format so that it understands the similarity to be used within the LLM space. So for example, you could connect Supabase here. So if I connect Supabase, it's going to ask for credentials. So can try and see. I think, yeah, if we start the project, let it run. I mean, likewise, you can sort of connect Supabase. So close this. What else we can look into? I shouldn't connect this one. Yeah, I think like for tools, there's a lot more tools you can look into. Data tables, if you have that, um, Asana, any kind of AWS tools, you can trigger them as well. And then yeah, so ClickUp, I think any kind of a tool, you can sort of connect this so that it can have a conversation with that endpoint. Yeah, GitHub, Gmail, um, Grafana is another tool that's quite useful. Um, yeah, so I think like you could like look at any kind of integration, but like let's say if you don't have any like the tool that you want to use, so you can use the HTTP request tool. So that means like you can sort of create your own sort of endpoint to a service that you want to talk to, and you can define how that conversation is going to get connected using the contract by defining here, and you can sort of whether it's a get method or a post method, the endpoint URL, so you can have those information, and then you can have sort of a custom endpoint developed. So you don't have to worry about like not having that integration done. If you can get the endpoint exposed, and you can sort of make HTTP request to that endpoint for your agent. So also you have the option to like connect like a MCP client very easily. So if you have the URL for the MCP, you can sort of easily connect this. So I think like MCP. I think maybe the first time we're discussing this MCP. So MCP called Model Context Protocol. So the idea here is that it is a way that you can sort of easily connect external services to an LLM. So this is slightly bit of a marketing definition as well, but from a practical point of view, it makes sense because it sort of gives a guideline for any kind of external service to expose their endpoints so that they can be easily integrated to LLM based solution, so that you can easily so your agent can know what sort of features are there that is needed for the to get the work done, and it can sort of connect to that. So that's another way that you can sort of extend your agent sort of capabilities. Um, okay, let's see. Oh, yeah, I'll try and fix the SERP API issue towards the end, but I want to like try and go back to where we are at to make sure that yeah, we go back to this slide deck to make sure. Yeah, I think the other thing that I want to like try and show is like how do you connect this to sort of a external endpoint? But before that, let me see what do we have to? Yeah, so I think what you can do is like connect this to a calendar as well. So for example, let's say I want to connect sort of a Google. Let's say I can connect something to. Let's connect to Google Sheet, I guess. Hmm. Takes a bit of time. Yeah, I think something we should try is like connecting this to a webhook. This might be much more fun than this. What I'm gonna try and do is like open up cursor, and we're gonna try and see how we can sort of connect this agent and have a conversation with this agent rather than within the sort of the endpoint. So let me open up cursor. Let me park this for a bit. Get a webhook. Um, let's see. So Cursor is this tool that I sort of showed you earlier. So I was playing around with it before, trying to build this tool. I'm gonna try and see test this. So let me give a quick introduction to Cursor. I think like Cursor is like IDE that you can use to build any kind of a software solution and used by developers. If you haven't seen this, so it is an extension of VS Code, which is the precursor to sort of Cursor. And then Cursor became this sort of the leading tool out there that gives you like much faster development cycles for you based on sort of your prompts. So you have this like the chat interface very similar to ChatGPT. So you can sort of open up and then you can sort of ask you to do certain things. So right now, like this, like just have a couple of files here. I can ask you to have a conversation. So you have like quite a few ways that you can interact with it. You can be in the agentic mode that automatically builds code for you. And you can sort of in the plan mode. So if you need to build software, you can sort of try and plan it out and then start a build debug mode. So it sort of look at the errors that's happening in the code and it can sort of fix them. You can just ask like so it won't generate any code, but it will sort of look at the code and let you sort of get any clarifications that you need. So it's quite useful when you're at when you don't want to generate code. So you can like ask it to build any type of a code. So I think like the general sense, like I think like last week we looked at Labo, and right now like this is like a bit more advanced stage where you are probably looking at directly working with the code, like rather than just the UI, etc. So you can ask it to build anything. So other option here is like, yes, you pick the mode, which is the agent mode, and the next stage is like you can pick and choose different types of models. So Cursor uses external models to generate code. So it has the option to connect. So with Opus, which is Claude's latest model, one of the best models out there, Sonnet, GPT models, Gemini. So these models have been selected and fine-tuned a bit using system prompts so that this works really well with the code development. So you can let it set auto mode, so in that way the cursor will automatically pick the models, but I want to like stick to like having the right kind of sort of control. So we can go to Opus as well, and you can ask it to, I have this n8n production URL, can you test if it works? This is a webhook. We'll try to trigger, I mean probably hit some errors, but let's see. So it's resend out. So it's making right. I need to set it to have a post. Yeah, post request. Yeah. So it's gonna hit an error in a bit. We're gonna fix that. Yeah, it was initially set to a get request. So there are multiple ways that you can interact with the endpoint. Generally, post request is you are asking you to do something. Get request is that you're asking to get some information back. So it sort of send the post message. Payload send, you send a hello, and you get a response back. Let's see. So webhook got triggered. Delete this one. So what I'm doing here is like it is calling the endpoint, and it's trying to figure out if it's working. So if you go here, executions. Sorry, to publish this. So you can see it managed to send message and it get triggered on this side. Yeah. Not sure why this is getting triggered. Okay. Is it on error? Yeah, I think yeah, so there's a sort of the message is coming through. For some reason it's not sort of passing. But yeah, I think the idea here is like you can sort of get cursor to like call this from their side. And then you can sort of like get that fixed. I think like sort of like yeah, I'll get this fixed separately. I think can be a bit confusing with their yeah. Yeah, I think I'll pick up Dan's question. Okay, can Claude use an MCP directly to build an n8n workflow while staying in Claude Code? Both Claude Code and n8n can also be open next to each other. If yes, that makes Claude to text prompts. So is the idea is to like use Claude Code to generate n8n workflows? Dan, is that the question? Sorry, on mute by the way. Yeah, 100%. I think like yeah. So I think like so n8n has MCP so that you can connect. So you could use Claude Code or you can use Cursor. So then you can get Cursor to connect to the n8n MCP server, and you can via that you can sort of connect it, and also you can connect the Supabase MCP server as well to n8n sorry Cursor, and then you can get it to create the Supabase schemas and everything. You can connect that in that way. So yes, I mean the short answer is
It's
yes.
a great.
Yeah.
And then when I like what it says it's going to do, I can tell it to go implement that step, and then I can check it,
Yeah.
and then go on to the next step.
100%. Yeah. So not. Yeah, so I think like if you go to settings, let me see MCP access. So no, this is my n8n deployment. So you can
Okay.
sort of go to settings. So well, let's try to do it. Like you can go to MCP access. So like this is the local sort of n8n sort of tool that I'm exposing. So this is running in my local host. You go to settings. I haven't tried this before. We're gonna try and do it. So it has the MCP access. So there are quite a couple of ways it seems to do this. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. And you can ask directly. Not sure. Did it get copy? Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna take a screenshot. Let's see. Go to cursor. I'm gonna say, yeah. Say, could you kindly set up the yeah. So let's figure out if we can extract the information. So it can. So I mean that's the general sense. I mean if it doesn't work, you can sort of provide the information, and it can sort of get that. And let's see if we can set it up. So it's reasoning out everything. Yeah, so the screenshot, I think, so it didn't read the partial rest of the thing. So it asked like, could you share the key? And asked to share the key. And then it's figuring out everything and setting it up. Hopefully, we should be able to see this. Let's see. If we go to settings and cursor settings, you can go to MCP tools. So I've been sort of playing around. So I have set up Supabase, Playwright, Figma I've set up. So it's now trying to set up the n8n. So it's automatically got set up. It's trying to load the tools. So there are three tools: enable search workflows, execute workflows, get workflow details. Interesting. It doesn't have editing one. Yeah, that's the thing. Let me see. Let's see.
Maybe,
Yeah, I need to check that. I think like so I think like
but
MCP.
I get the principle of what you're doing.
Yeah,
This is great.
Playwright can easily evaluate your sort of the websites and things. So if I have like a local website running, I can ask it to go and automatically do the QA part. Can click certain things and check if it is working and do the
Oh,
summary for you. So
fantastic.
you
Yes.
have to manually do it. So if I have any endpoint, I can ask you to go and sort of test it. Yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh, end to
and
end.
you have an environment here that can do all those steps.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
yeah, I think like I've tested three of them before, so it works perfectly. So n8n, I need to check how
yeah.
this works with here, but definitely it's quite doable. Sorry, Santosh, you got a question as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. So it's like this is like Supabase has their own sort of MCP
Right.
service
Okay.
post. I'm just
Okay.
connecting it on my side. So the cursor agent can directly talk to them. So you
Right.
need to like I'm not sure if this has been enabled, so I can ask like could you
Supply.
yeah, so not
Okay.
it just a connection, like so
All
that's
right.
the thing.
Got it.
So if I go here, so you can see it's just a connection. So the configuration that I've added, so I've added Supabase, Playwright. So this is like within, if you can see that cursor, MCP JSON, so you can have this like the configuration. You can add any number of MCP servers here. Um, so for example, I just asked like, could you list the tables in my Supabase? It just reads it and sort of gives all the tables. So this is like from a previous sort of like a demo app I have built. So it gives me everything. If I need to write something to Supabase, I can directly do that. Let's say who's data for few rows from the tickets table. I don't know if there's data, but like yeah, you can see. So it's executing the JSON and everything. Let's see. Yeah, so it pulls some data from the table. So this data is coming from the Supabase itself. So if you log into Supabase, you will see this data as well. So you have direct access to the table just from the chat conversation. So you don't have to like write any SQL, just a conversation. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So, yeah. So this like we're just connecting like this is an extension of what we did on n8n. Like so for example, on n8n, like we're trying to like build the AI agent. I mean the so you can connect different tools, right? So you can connect MCP tools to the agent that we try to do. So similarly, Cursor is like a big AI agent. Like it's a coding tool, coding agent, and we are connecting different kinds of tools to this. So it knows like Supabase agent is there. You have the Supabase MCP service there, Playwright, etc. So you can connect all these tools and you can ask it to sort of figure it out and can go and do those things. So yeah, there's I think like thousands of MCP servers out there, and you can connect them. And most of the any kind of a like modern tool would have MCP server, and you can connect it very easily. Like you can get the information and get the cursor to build the tool for you. From this, like I can push it to production. I don't need to, like if I configure the AWS, can push it to production. I don't need to look at production and I can push it to GitHub. I don't have to write any commit messages. Cursor will do it for you, and the CI/CD pipeline will automatically get triggered. So things like that. So everything can be controlled from cursor. So that's the value of it. It can take a bit of time to learn if you're not from a sort of a coding background, but it's modern enough that we can sort of interact with it sort of naturally. So this is the editor mode. You have the agent, separate agent mode. So you can run multiple agents if you need, like not just one agent, you can run multiple agents to do the same thing, do multiple things parallelly. So with different models, etc. But yeah, I think like that's the power of it. Yeah, exactly. So I think like you can connect a lot of these endpoints where some from MCP server. So if you don't have MCP server, you can directly connect like use like for example GitHub. I don't have MCP server, but it's connected via CLI. It's authenticated, so it can sort of push this code to GitHub very easily. Same for AWS, same for Heroku, things like that. So you can sort of push it to production very easily. And if you need to pull something as well, you can do that. So sometimes you don't need MCP server, it can figure it out on its own. But it's good if there's MCP server because it's standardized, so you know how it performs. Yeah, yeah, a got a list of tools. Yeah, definitely. I'll add the URLs as well. So I think like so that there's a full list. So things like Supabase, etc. But like there's a lot more. But yeah, I'll definitely create that list, share it. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, Santosh, no worries.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
amazing. Yeah, I think like yeah. So this is what I want to quickly show. I think like obviously the demo I want to show like yeah didn't pan out as expected. Sort of ran into error, but I'll get that fixed and then sort of upload the slides as well with that fix. So the idea is that you can create these agents on n8n, and you can also like communicate that with any kind of endpoint. And Cursor is sort of the next evolution of this, where you can sort of do any kind of app development after you develop the agents. Yeah, I think like for next week it'd be ideal. I'll sort of I think I've updated the assignment as well, like to build your own agent using an n8n, and also try and play around with Cursor and see what you can build with Cursor. So Cursor, you have like if you haven't downloaded, it's like it has a 14-day trial period as well, so you can play around with it. And then it would be awesome to see what you guys can build with Cursor because that's quite powerful at the end of the day. I see like they're moving really fast as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think 100%. Like you first might need to do the initial connection with GitHub, like with sharing keys. But after that, like yeah, it's just natural conversation. You can ask it to pull data, push PRs, like commit, etc. So you can do everything end to end. So you didn't have to like type anything. So on GitHub side, I know I'm taking a lot of time. I know a lot of guys dropped off as well. But this is quite interesting conversation. So if you go to GitHub, you can sort of enable on the GitHub side agents there. So for example, your PR can be automatically evaluated. Like Gemini has an agent free to use. So your PR will be evaluated, and so you know like if there are any security issues, etc. before you merge them as well. So that's from GitHub side. There's an
And
easy
it's
way to
been
do it. Like yeah, so I think like so I will quickly show this. So if you connect it to GitHub, so you will have something called Gemini Code Assist and Claude has as well. So this is like
okay.
a PR on our side. So it's like a very small PR, but it does like do the automatic evaluation of the code and does like if you have
Wonderful.
security issues and everything, it automatically checks this. So you don't have to manually copy this. It's connected on GitHub free of charge. And then you can decide if you need to change that. Otherwise, yeah, you're free to sort of like move on.
Oh,
That's a very good question. And definitely goes to Google. Something like if there's anything sensitive. Yeah, I need to
yeah.
read. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like yeah, given this is free.
Okay.
I think Claude has as well. GitHub. Yeah, I think yeah, maybe not. So I think like yeah, so GitHub has quite a few tools like this that helps you to like integrate automated testing. So definitely I would use some of these.
So
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, if there's any questions, Dan, as well, like anyone, like feel free to ping. Like, happy to
okay.
set up like a chat separately and like go through some of these
Okay.
things together. Yeah,
Great.
100%. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I would send some links like on how to set this up. Yeah, and like we can sort of kick off next week as well on this.
to
Yeah,
move.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. Uh,
Okay.
any other questions, guys? Like I know, like we ran 20 minutes over, but these conversations I love to have. Yeah, yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I'll share Christy documentation on MCP. I think like yeah, it's quite a lot of interesting information, but I'll pick and choose some of them that you can sort of like um, go quickly study that. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Amazing conversation today. Love this.